Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: tattoo artists of Reddit. What is the most fucked up thing you've tattooed? Had a guy get a tattoo of his wife fingering her own ass, while she sat and watched me tattoo it on him. Interesting experience trying to get the shading on her labia just right while she was peering over my shoulder. Coulda gone meta and tattooed her around his butthole to make his butthole her butthole. You hopeless romantic. Were you working from a photo or live demonstration? If she was peering over his shoulder, he clearly had a few mirrors set up to get a real clean look at her asshole. Had an older lady come in wanting a butterfly tattoo on her labia. Actually turned out really pretty, she loved it and was a pleasure to work with. Every time I do a butterfly tat now I think of her flaps. How old was she? That sounds incredibly painful, or mildly pleasurable. Definitely over 80. She's going to regret that when she's older. She'll never be able to get a job. I just started tattooing, so I was taking any kind of walk-in I could get. This guy would come in every few weeks and get his girlfriend's name tattooed on him. The same name, all different ways, in a diamond, attached to an infinity symbol, with a ladybug. One day he came in with her and I was surprised because I'd never seen her and always wanted to know who this muse of shitty name tattoos was. She seemed pissed off and unapproachable. The guy was in high spirits though. I skipped the small talk with her, did the tattoo, let them leave. He came in a few weeks later, alone. I finally asked him why all the name tattoos. He told me he would tattoo her name on himself every time he cheated on her and she found out. He then asked me if I would like to go to dinner after his tattoo. That was our last interaction. Well, odd that she stayed beyond the first two. She was just waiting it out until he made himself unemployable. Fucking legend of an idiot. I had to have a polyp removed from my colon a few years back. When they removed it, they actually tattooed a marker inside my colon, so that spot would be easier to find and check in a colonoscopy. So while not a tattoo artist, I do have a tattoo up my ass. That qualifies as fucked up. What's the nature of this tattoo? Is it a cross, a dot, a ring, or are there words in it? It was the inscription from the ring in Lord of the Rings. Endoscopy nurse here. It's usually just a dot. We do it in case it'll need to be surgically removed so the surgeon can find it easier. I was at a concert years ago in Philly when this guy showed up with a tattoo of a woman that had some very poorly executed features, a godly crooked nose, teeth out of alignment, etc. My buddy says to me if some tattoo guy screwed up a picture of my girlfriend that badly I'd kick his ass. Well, about 10 minutes later this young lady shows up and damn if she didn't look just like the tattoo. Edit. Thank you to all the kind Redditors showing me the love for this posting. I'm glad I was able to bring a bit of humor to people's day. Reminds me of this true crime video on YouTube where the police sketch was real weird looking. I said to myself nobody looks like that. When they got the person it looked exactly like the sketch. I knew a guy that got rabbit prints on his ass cheek leading to his butthole. Want to see my new rabbit tattoo? Oh man, it must have jumped in his hole. That's an astonishing level of commitment to a joke. I was gonna say that it's a terrible dad joke but it's actually a dirty uncle joke. I met a contractor who had a red plaid thermos tattooed on his arm and would say, that way if it gets too hot, I can turn my thermostat down, as he lowers his forearm. That is delightfully corny. This young man wanted a tattoo on his back. It said something like, Lisa please forgive me. I asked him if this was some last-ditch effort to get this girl back. He said yes, and I told him this is a really bad idea, you shouldn't do this. He wanted the tattoo anyway, so he got it. If it worked out with him and the girl, she will always remember this terrible thing he did that was so bad he had to go get a tattoo to try and prove how wrong he was. Or if it didn't work out with them, whoever he dated afterwards would ask him what terrible thing he did that was so bad he had to go get a tattoo to try fix things with his ex. It seemed like a no-win scenario with that tattoo. My advice is, if your tattoo artist is telling you that something isn't a good idea to get, just take a moment and consider why. My local shop has pictures of people with dumb tattoo ideas. The owner has them hold up the design they want, and if he says it's a bad idea they take a picture of them holding it up and it goes on the wall of shame. Couple guys have definitely gotten a tattoo just so they can get their face on the wall, haha. I'm not an artist but I have plenty of tattoos. People don't seem to appreciate the kind of special knowledge tattoo artists have to accumulate in order to be good at their jobs. That includes practical anatomy, how skin tones work with different color tints, and, of course, how things usually work out when someone gets a particular tattoo based on the experiences of their prior clients. I go with whatever my guy advises. I trust him explicitly. Edit, yes. Explicitly. We're working on a sleeve. I've told him that he's the expert and I'm going to follow his professional recommendations and defer to his experience. There's a pedant here who doesn't seem to understand, or think I understand, the difference between implicit and explicit. Finding a good artist that cares about those things is really important also. I think that's why people tend to stick with someone once they've found an artist that they trust. Sometimes this is to a fault, of course, and sometimes it's great. A guy I knew growing up and his girlfriend got each other's names on their wrists, 18/19. They broke up. He decided to get it covered up with a bullet. Of course the thick black outline of her name is clearly visible. So now he has a bullet with her name on it. A bullet for his old Valentine. Tears don't fall. I thought he fucking shot himself, lol. I literally coughed on my water when I saw with a bullet because I was like, holy shit, he shot himself, LMAO. My friend's dad had a tattoo that covered his entire forearm of two pigs going at it doggy style, piggy style. And it said making bacon above it. He was made to cover it up every time we visited, but I saw it once and it's quite graphic. Imagine dropping your kids off for a sleepover and the dad answers the door with this on his arm, Timmy, time to go home. Sorry Timmy, but you're not cool enough to hang out with these people. Been tattooing nearly 20 years and honestly most everything has been pretty tame. I've had a few very weird quote requests but they never actually follow up on scheduling, or I just outright decline the piece. The weirdest tattoo I think I've ever actually done was a portrait of a stillbirth baby. I totally get the sentiment and I've done countless memorials for stillbirth babies, so that in and of itself is not weird, but the photo I was working from in this case was not a nice one. You know how they put little hats and clothes on a stillbirth baby to take a photo for the parents? They'd done that here as well, but I think the baby had butterfly syndrome or something as the poor thing's skin was peeling away. I asked as gently as I could if he wanted the photo cleaned up for the tattoo. I don't have to tattoo all those wounds, you know. But he wanted it just as is. I respect that, people heal trauma in many ways. I did the tattoo as requested, he loved it. I did not take a photo for my portfolio. And since I know you'll ask, a couple of strange quote requests. These people did not get the tattoo, to be clear, just asked for a price. A photo of herself as a little girl, but wanted me to add blood all over her and dripping from her. Husband and wife wanted to come in together, and have me tattoo a photo of themselves engaged in BDSM. I assume they wanted a threesome afterwards too, it was heavily implied in the email. Human trafficking tattoos, usually an older man trying to schedule for his much younger girlfriend to get a random name or word done near the pubic area. A couple requests for sclera tattoos, recoloring the whites of the eyes, Google if you dare. I used to work for an anti-human trafficking non-profit and traffickers tattooing their victims is super common. It can be their name, a $sign, a money bag, or even a barcode. If you see something like that happen, you can call the National Human Trafficking Hotline and report it anonymously. Apologize for the formatting, on my phone. Yep. I'm a victim advocate. We actually have a local artist that donates tats if our clients want to do cover-ups instead of removal. He also does any if we have any DV clients who have abusers' names tatted. Trafficking. Jesus Christ, not something I'd think a tattoo artist would have to keep an eye out for, but it makes sense. Glad you do this and you recognize the signs. Do you report these ones? I know they probably come from burner emails / phones, but does anything ever happen? I'm not sure about op, but in my city tattoo shops work very closely with law enforcement to catch these guys. Obvious not a tattoo artist, but I used to work in a nice day spa that did hair removal services. We have had men call in for their girlfriend to get a Brazilian wax often, so it's not that surprising, right? A girl I worked with was set to take a Brazilian wax and the boyfriend demanded to stay in the room, for comfort he said, but the girl / young woman was crying and clearly didn't want to be waxed. He was not being comforting and something was all the way off. Our waxer paused the service and went and got his tag numbers. Called the police the second they left. We don't know what happened of it, but I hope it's not what we all thought it was. Also, a lot of massage therapists, aestheticians, and cosmetologists are offered or require training in recognizing the signs of domestic violence. I have seen images of those eye white coloring tattoos. Will not Google again. Could not agree more with your choice of tattoos not to do. Type sclera tattoo into browser address bar. First result sclera tattoo. Second result sclera tattoo gone wrong. Yikes. But did you Google butterfly disease? Jesus, those poor kids.